Hey. So it's Andrew's fault that we're late, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a bad internet connection, folks.
Yeah.
Sorry for the delay.
You still are warbling a little bit. Anyway, we got a wonderful video. Yeah, wonderful new video by Standing for Truth. And I have a book by this guy called, I don't know, Evolution. What is it?
Is it Evolution, the Grand Experiment?
Yes. Yeah, that one.
Oh, yeah, that one.
I do have a book.
I mean, he kind of repeats the same general argument in both.
Yeah, he's got like some brilliant comments here, like pro-evolution. Yes, I do believe in the theory of evolution because I think that we had to come from someplace, and from ape to man to what we are today. I definitely believe in evolution. I don't know where the hell he got that quote.
It's like he interviewed random people off the street from those pictures.
I guess so. And evolution scientists can't agree. And Darwin got a whole lot wrong about DNA.
Well, of course, DNA wasn't even discovered.
I know. It's just like, oh God. And Donnie keeps having these jerks on. This guy is a medical doctor, and he graduated something cum laude with biology, right? He took an extra biology course, probably equivalent to.
But he's not a paleontologist. He has no geology or paleontology background, which is the thing he's speaking on. Funny enough,
he's a practicing medical doctor. I mean, he's got a little practice, right? And you think. Like if I go to my doctor and I talk to him about cell membranes and molecular biology, he didn't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right. It's like people need to understand it's when you get a PhD, it's a very niche topic that you're going into that you're really an expert on per se.
Yep. I mean, shit. I've even talked.
You have some background knowledge on other stuff depending on the field you're going into, but you're not an expert on everything, obviously.
Yeah. So I don't know what this book. This book is like a picture book. It's like.
Yeah, he really seems to like his comparison pictures.
The experiment: collect wheat from field, put wheat in jar, put sweaty, dirty underwear in jar with wheat.
What the heck?
What the fuck is this guy? What is he? Wait 3 weeks for spontaneous generation. The evidence: mice appear in the jar. They came from the underwear and the wheat. I mean, this is really bad. This is distressingly bad. I don't know. Anyway, so okay, I'm going to let you run the show here for a minute. Let me know what are you going to rant about?
Yeah. So you want to pull up the other video or the original video?
Oh shit. I'm getting a kind of an important call. What?
The original video? Sorry, or do you want me to talk for a minute while you take that?
Yeah, could you do that?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey everyone, how's everyone doing this fine morning, afternoon, whatever time zone you're in? Let's see. So I guess today we're going to be semi-reviewing a hey Leo. We're going to be semi-reviewing a video live stream that Donnie did Donnie Budinsky, Standing for Truth, did with Carl Werner, who, if you haven't heard of Carl Werner, he's seems to have been making the rounds lately in creationist circles, has been for quite a while, it seems, especially on like creation.com and CMI, all the usual suspects. Kind of his main talking point seems to be the whole, of course, living fossil issue, that, hey, look at all these fossils in dinosaur age strata during the Mesozoic period, Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous, and look at all these invertebrates, look at all these plants. They look exactly the same as modern species, which, as we'll get into, that's not entirely the case, but coming from, again, a guy who has no paleontology background or background in comparative anatomy, etc., I don't expect him to see the differences. Yeah, that's that's kind of his big argument. But what really, I guess, got me to want to talk about this today and kind of rant with y'all is how intuitive this argument seems to be and how convincing it seems to many of the creationists who were listening. Because I was in the side chat when that video was going off, and they were saying, well, of course, Donnie gave the standard.
I think you're breaking up again.
I am? Oh, how much am I breaking up?
Okay, now I think you're back.
Okay, let me know if I break up again.
Nope.
Okay.
It's horribly wrong now.
Oh, am I breaking up again?
Can you guys hear him?
Yeah, can everyone in chat hear me okay? Or is it just speed?
Andrew, you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah. Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah, something bleeped back. I don't know. I heard a bleep. I'm not sure what that is.
Anyway. I think that's your connection, because yeah.
Yeah, you want to repeat?
People in chat, let us know if you can hear both of us.
Yeah, is Andrew breaking up for you guys, or is it just
my roboting?
Yeah, could be my headphones, because these headphones kind of suck. I'm gonna put my Apple AirPods.
Okay, Leo says I can.
Really? Okay.
Go fine. So yeah, it might be your headphones.
Let me see if I can switch.
Yeah, it seems to be on your end, Speed. Oh. Sorry, folks, technical issues all around today.
Yeah. Okay, how about now?
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. I think
okay.
I can. I'm just trying to cool. Okay, cool. I'm good.
So what was I saying? Yeah, so of course, Donnie gave the standard Hovind rhetoric of even a 5-year-old could tell that these are the same. Like, he actually said that as if it were an argument. And then he was kind of, well, I was kind of going back and forth with him in the chat, and is like, you have to understand, if you're gonna say, well, we'll get into this more later too, but if you're gonna say that taxonomy is completely arbitrary, that like species distinctions don't mean anything or don't serve a practical purpose, or that you can't tell different genera apart by their morphology or their DNA, etc., then there goes the entire field, if you want to call it that, of baraminology and their kind of argument for different kinds. Because if you're going to say all these features are just arbitrary, then that kind of cuts both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So kind of undermining it. Like I gave the example of, I gave you a black bear and a sloth bear. They look pretty similar on the outside, superficially, but they're obviously different species, right? So how are you gonna, how do you tell them apart? And I kind of asked that question, and it wasn't really answered, maybe for time purposes, but I think that's
how do you look at a 90 million year old leaf in a rock and tell them it's exactly the same species as a popple tree today? It's just the reason that they give it a different species because they don't know. And if they knew that the things could interbreed, which they explain you can't know, right? We can't know that.
Right. He even said that. The biological species concept, which again isn't the only species concept, but when you're dealing with fossils, it's not a very useful one. So
him and his wife drove around the museums apparently for 17 years and took photographs.
Right.
And now him and his wife would like the museums to put ducks alongside the dinosaurs and parrots.
Or even better, he wants them to shut down the natural history museums and
shut
just
them down. Yeah, the dinosaurs
completely redo them, basically.
Right.
Make them new creation museums, I guess.
Yeah. So angiosperms appeared what, like 100 early Cretaceous, right?
Yeah,
so
early. The timing is still a little contentious as far as I know. It's at least they appear as fossils at least early Cretaceous, but they might have actually appeared in the Jurassic. We don't really know yet.
Which means there's no real problem at all having them alongside dinosaurs, and it still ain't going to. It isn't going to be ammo for one side or the other, I don't think.
Right. Like this is kind of the other big objection, which is, okay, you're pointing out these groups which we know appeared very early on, or you look, or corollary to that, you have very large taxa, like at the phylum or class level, and then pointing out members of them appearing during or that are present during the Mesozoic strata. And you're saying, aha, that disproves evolution. Like that's nonsense, because they appeared before the Mesozoic. Yeah. That's what that's like the basic body plans, if you want to call it that. The phylum level, the class level, like, yeah, obviously appear at different times, but most of them appeared before the Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous had even started. Like they appear, like take the, like, as we reviewed a video, we'll look over it, but like he points at dragonflies and says, oh, look, they're the same exact, they should be called the same species and genus of dragonflies, which is another thing, which is like there are several thousand species of dragonflies alive today. Like, you're really going to call that the exact same species genus? Like, and that kind of that's like the exact same criteria he wants to apply to all of these. He wants to call them the exact same, the modern species and genus that he's looking at in those particular images. Like,
yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, you can look at two insects and they look extremely alike, but they're different species.
Right.
Interbreed. And
like they might have biochemical differences, for example.
So he's one of these guys, you know, he's selling books for like his latest book, Living Fossils, is $29. I'll be goddamned if I'm going to pay for that.
Wait, $29? Oh my goodness.
$29. Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of like cheap compared to what they usually charge for their books. Oh, but I'm not buying that. I don't understand the anyway, I won't talk about how I got the book.
Yeah, probably shouldn't. Online.
I got a book because I'm an honest man. I mean, yeah, like Jesus, you know, Jesus is my guide. Yeah, my
new faces in chat. Hey, Robin. Hey, Iron Charioteer. Doorknob Head. See, I said hi to Leo earlier.
Scott was here earlier.
And Dave. Hey, Dave.
Maya Atkinson and Leo's here. And anyway, okay. So where would you like to go in this video? Do you have a place?
Let's see. I think the clip I really want to review starts with like where he's going over pictures of nautiloids.
Nautiloids. Let me take a look here, see if I can figure out
the chamber is visible.
Nautiloid.
Because that's where he kind of goes on a gish gallop about, oh, look at this form, and look at this form, and look at this form.
Okay, Nautilus. Okay, that's on 2430. About, let's see, 2430.
That sounds about right.
Let's see here, 2430.
Hey, Vesta.
Okay, yeah, this is the one, right?
Yeah,
okay.
There we go.
Okay, let's see if it rolls.
Fossils. Hold on.
Are we still with Dannykins, by the way?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dannykins good or What was our original? I even forgot. Oh my god.
I think it was something more obscene.
More obscene. I forget what it was.
Yeah, here it is. Nope, that's the wrong one. Living Fossil book.
Carl, you're doing a great job stirring up the chat, brother.
Right. Yeah.
The chat is already very lively. It's what I like.
And see, and it would be so boring if it was just creationist or just evolutionist. That would be so stirring up. And
You really think he believes that?
And he asked just some questions.
Yeah.
I'm just asking questions to get you to consider
Right.
that there's a sin of omission here.
It's a lot more fun when it's not just an echo chamber, when we got both sides, both views, and we're stirring up thoughts, brother.
Those you know, those people that run the natural history museums, man, they are sinners, all of them. It's like what
they're sinners of omission. And
we're so glad you're
are the good guys. They don't want to create an echo chamber, even though their channel is already an echo chamber.
Right. Yeah. So every time I talk
our
about
dying son. Sorry, what was that?
Every time I talk about evolution, I should say, oh well, there's an alternate theory that God did it, and I got to tell you about that theory because that's equally viable, right?
Right.
Like, yeah.
I mean, if you were to present that in the classroom, it would be, okay, day one, God did it. And that's pretty much it. And then you just read some Bible verses and then go home.
Well, then there's another alternate theory that a genie did it, you know, that somebody.
Oh, yes.
A genie did it, right? So I don't know.
And then there's another that Vishnu and Shiva did it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a number of
etc. etc.
Yeah. Anyway.
And yes, SFT is still relevant. I think how many subs does he have now? Like at least 20-ish thousand. Like he's really
26.1 thousand. I wonder if he's making a living on this because I don't think you can at 26.
I wouldn't be surprised if he is.
Well, yeah, he's got a lot of shit that he's shilling on top of his YouTube thing, but with 26K subs, I don't think you can make a living on YouTube. You need better than that. And
I think he is still motivated to defend the channel, though.
He has plateaued, definitely. I mean, he shot up to this, and that was partially because Raw Matt had a couple of viral videos that other Christians liked or whatever. Yeah, but I don't know. But he's got so much stuff he sells. We should sell some atheist stuff, I think. I don't know what I can sell. I can sell some, I don't know, herbs or some goddamn thing. Okay, should I play?
Yeah.
Gives you Nautilus. Let me make it full screen.
And to be fair, these are actual nautiloids. They weren't ammonites when I looked them up, as I initially thought. But
okay,
I wouldn't be surprised if he saw an ammonite and thought it was a nautilus too.
Okay, rolling.
Glad you're here. So,
sorry, do you want to repeat his credentials one more time for Blessed to Be He Speed?
Oh, his credentials are, let me go back here. Where is Mr. Man? Dr. Werner graduated from the University of Missouri with a distinction in biology, summa cum laude. He received his doctoral degree in medicine at the age of 23 and practices family medicine in St. Louis. That's his claim. I don't see anything there about molecular biology, evolution, population, nothing.
Nope.
He, along with his wife, Debbie, traveled to 7 countries to visit museums and fossil dig sites and interview fossil experts to author Evolution, the Grand Experiment, Volume 1, and Living Fossils.
And just let that sink in. He didn't actually go into these dig sites and actually go through the material there and plaster jackets and all that. No, he interviewed the actual people doing that. He took photographs of the museum exhibits, and like he didn't look at them, any of them, all close up and scrutinizing all the details of them like an actual paleontologist or taxonomist would do. Nope.
Yeah,
he just eyeballed them.
He didn't go out and read the paper that anybody might have written on the fossil.
Right.
I don't think he did any of that.
Well, at most he took like snippets of what they said or what they wrote and then put it in his book.
Yep.
As he's about to show here, or as he's showing here.
Oh, this is his book. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Roll.
Yep.
Finally broke the camel's back. And this is a fossil that would ultimately be the reason why all dinosaur halls need to be closed and defunded until they fix the problem I'm going to show you here, because this is exciting. As I said, sometimes we come upon these fossils that were found next to a dinosaur, and like this one, let me just see if I can get this on highlight. This one here. Oh, no, I can't do that. Sorry, I'm highlight. But anyway, this fossil here at the bottom. Can you see my cursor here or not?
Yes.
Yeah. So this fossil was found in a dinosaur rock layer. When I saw it, I thought, you know, it kind of looks like a modern nautilus. But if you look at the species name, the modern nautilus is Nautilus pompilius. You see this? Nautilus pompilius. Can you see that, Donnie? Right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fossil nautilus found next to a dinosaur, it's not Nautilus pompilius, it's Sinoceras texanum. See, it's a different genus, it's a different species, and it's not the same animal. So I thought. But then I came upon another nautilus, and this one allowed me to basically take a microscope and look inside. It's not really a microscope, but this one is also a nautilus that was found during the dinosaur rock layers, in the dinosaur rock layers. This fossil lived with the dinosaurs. This animal lived with the dinosaurs. It was buried alongside the dinosaur. But at the Australian Museum, when they displayed it, they took a saw and cut it in half so I could see the inside. And that's the part that was always missing, because I could never confirm that they were right, that it's a different genus and all this. Now, this is a dinosaur nautilus, and this here is a modern nautilus. These are whole, these are cut in half. Now, if you look at a modern nautilus cut in half, you can see what's called the siphuncle, which is that tube that allows them to balance the air in the chambers. You can't see the siphuncle, but you can see where where it goes through here, right there. But in the dinosaur one, you can actually see the siphuncle, this tube, and you can see every chamber all the way to the center. And if you look at these, they are essentially an exact match. But
so, but I wish I could find the species or the fossil he's talking about. I didn't get what. Have you found it?
Yeah, they're you can look up on Wikipedia. There are both nautilus relatives. So
okay, would it be under nautilus on the wiki?
Not nautilus. Let's see which species did he name?
Suma something, or what the hell did he say?
Yeah, it's like I gotta zoom in on the names there, because it's very difficult to read them up close.
Yeah, and he's at 720, so no matter how high a resolution I use, I can't read them. So
right,
I haven't been able to read any of the stuff, and that was. I
think one of them was Sinoceras, yeah, and I forgot what the other one was.
And I can't. I keep getting Spinoceras instead of Sinoceras, so I don't know how to spell it.
Try Cenoceras.
No. Okay. Ceno.
Ceras. So Sinoceras.
Okay.
And I think that's the right one, the right bottom one. He's got pictured there with the chambers.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So they have different genus. Let's see, cephalopod mollusk family, Nautilaceae.
Yeah, they're all nautiloids here.
Yeah, Sinoceras intermedium, which was originally described in 1816 Shells of these nectonic carnivores are variable in form, depending on the species. Okay. And I'm not sure how much they vary, but anyway, Upper Triassic. So, shit, that's quite a while ago. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the first nautiloids appeared, I think, like, well, actually, I think they appeared, like, not these ones, obviously, but different taxa within nautiloids appeared, like Ordovician, Cambrian, around that boundary. So they've been around quite a while, but they've still changed quite a bit. So
Pragmatic Crystal was like the link master.
Oh, thanks, Pragmatic.
Yeah, the link master. Pretty good.
Hey, Tilting Windmill.
Yeah, he beats me. Oh my goodness, we have a Scott with us.
Hey, Scott.
Scotty. Thought you were missing in action. Well, we can't hear Scott, but we know Scott's with us in, yeah, he's in our hearts.
The ghost of Scott.
Yeah, the ghost of Scott. He's not often with us anymore in audio. So. But he's thinking of us. Okay, I put that in my description. Yep, okay. I'm a little disjointed today.
That's okay. We all are.
3 hours of sleep. Amy Newman kept me up last night. Oh, that was wonderful. She did a video on this guy, had an 8-minute absolutely destroyed evolution, because bacteria have they have like what is it, 500 million nucleotides, or did he say 500,000? I don't know if he say 500,000.
So, yeah, a few hundred millions in that ballpark.
Yeah, and he said that, you know, and then we have 3.2 billion. And he said, well, how could you add to that? I mean, how could you possibly add? It just, you can't do it. So Darwin was wrong. Darwin thought you could add. And no, Darwin was just all wet. So anyway, that was his whole spiel. And he did it well enough that
duplication and insertions and whatnot.
So many so many ways that you can add to it. It's just, oh my God. Anyway, okay, should I go on? We're still trying to get Scott to connect. Okay,
but watch this. This is a key, and listen carefully. The modern nautilus is Nautilus pompilius. Right here, you can see it. The name, genus name, and species. But this one, even though it looks exactly the same, they put it in a different genus and call it Cenoceros, and a different species, Lineatus. It's the same animal, and they changed the name. And why would you change the name? Who knows? But what it does is it creates the illusion of evolution. See, unless you got
and
27 years to run around the world taking photographs of both live and
so listen carefully, folks. So that's his main argument there. He's going to show a bunch of examples of this, but that's what he think is his gotcha for evolution and the fossil record. They seem to look identical in his eyes. Not actually looking at them carefully under a microscope or whatnot, because he said he didn't look under them under a microscope. But they seem to look the same. Therefore, they are the same exact species and genus, and therefore they're modern animals, and so the fossil record is out of order. Evolution is wrong. Case closed.
Yep.
Does that strike anyone here as convincing? Let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, I guess we're supposed to give them, acknowledge them, say that they have a valid theory. God did it. God did it as a valid theory. Is that what we're supposed to do everywhere? I mean, in every museum, it should have a big sign that said God did it. God could have done it.
Right. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what is
perhaps God did it.
Step 2 is here.
But I mean, if you gathered a bunch of like extant species, right? And lined them all up, you'd still have to really analyze very carefully the internal.
Yeah, it takes a trained professional eye to distinguish these. Or, well, many of these, like you need to be a invertebrate paleontology specialist to.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the fossil that he's got a picture of here.
Which, I mean, is like what we would expect from modern species. Like they do show minor differences, but we'd still call them different species for other criterion. But like I said, it just leads to this absurd. Everything is one species. Everything within a kind is one species. All of a sudden, like it. Where does this lead us?
So I guess that's his main thing, is that we're supposed to acknowledge creationism, and we're not, and for obvious reasons.
Right.
Oh my God. Anyway, okay. What else do you want to do here?
So yeah, let's see. He goes on to talk about a few insects. Like I was saying, he mentions, oh look, the dragon. Or here, let's play the dragonfly clip if we get to that.
Fossilized animals in.
Hang on a second. Yeah. Let me see if I can find. Oh, okay, I can find it.
Because just the way he worded it, like, spells out his whole argument here.
Dragon.
It's like so silly.
Okay, so that's 29. Well, yeah, we're coming up on a list.
They were different species, Cenoceros lineatus.
We got a minute.
But if you had someone that actually went and got the picture of this and put it next to this, you would realize that this is a travesty, and this is how the whole fossil record has gone in the dinosaur layers. And this is why museums need to close the dinosaur halls until they fix this. And this is just a start. Okay. It's not about a shellfish. It's about.
So I guess, to kind of help him out here, to lend some credibility to his side. So we should have, like, in the dinosaur exhibit, we should have a current dinosaur alongside of it, a living dinosaur. Wait.
Right. Like that's the thing. He like, and he even showed it earlier. It's like this sleight of hand. He showed, oh look, all these creatures, from the age of the dinosaurs are different. Like non-avian dinosaurs and all the marine reptiles and Archaeopteryx and whatnot. Like they're not around today, obviously.
I mean, we need to put some.
But then he's showing all the ones that he thinks look similar. So he's kind of cherry picking and it's kind of a red herring.
Yeah. Well, he's complaining about how they decorate their sets when they're the subject is the dinosaur, right? And then they basically come up with some generic looking vegetation and whatever around it to fill it in.
Right. If you want all the details, you look in the literature. Like people going there, they're not there to see all these tiny mammals scurrying about. They're there to see the big and exciting stuff, which is the sad reality of it. But that's what the museum exhibits are designed to do, is to.
At one point, he's really pissed. He's really pissed because they don't have ducks.
Right.
Okay. So what is his evidence that there were ducks swimming around with dinosaurs? I don't know.
They mainly point to species like Vagavus and its relatives, which we're not actually sure if they are even anseriforms, the clade that includes ducks and geese and waterfowl and whatnot, or if they're just outside of that clade, or if they're more basal. Like I've seen some studies where they're basal to anseriforms, or they're basal to neonaphs, which is the group that includes all birds except ostriches and flightless birds and their relatives. So we're not even sure if it is an actual duck or if it's even a duck relative. So, and a lot of these other, what he's calling modern bird fossils, like the parrot one, which might just be an oviraptorid. So it just happens to have a parrot-like beak, but it's not an actual parrot. Am I echoing?
Oh no, you're okay.
That was weird.
Can I be heard?
Hey, Scott.
Just came in for a moment. Hey, Scott, we can
Sorry for all the problems, but my Wi-Fi is wacky today.
Yep. You got a wacky Wi-Fi. Oh, okay, we're at about 29 where he starts talking about dragonflies.
It's about changing the names, and it's about the displays because they essentially never put the modern animals with the dinosaurs. So the next question is, well, what animals have been found with the dinosaurs that are essentially modern, but they just renamed them? You know, but they are modern looking. And I'm just going to take you
modern
through
looking and modern are not the same.
You can get this book called Living Fossils that I wrote with Debbie, and then I'll also get the video. It's a television quality video, and it'll go through all these interviews. I'm not going to do that detail. I'm just going to show you the good stuff, the pictures. Okay. So I got to flip through some pages here. And,
so pause right there. So
I'm just going to
notice what he basically just said there. I'm not going to show you all the morphological details. I'm not going to go into the actual fossils themselves. I'm just going to show you side-by-side picture comparisons and give you the impression that they look the same. That's essentially what he just admitted there.
And for any one of these fossils, they spend years and years comparing them and figuring out basically the morphology and doing CT scans now, which is really cool. And it takes them a long time, and they find these very strange little differences in morphology. And then we know we have a different species, you know.
Which again is what you do for modern species. So like you take all you list out all their morphological or genetic characters if you have genome sequences, and you compare them and say, okay, is this different enough to classify it as a distinct species or genus? Yeah, and that's the same thing we do with fossils.
Yeah, and in order to classify it as the same species, looking back at a rock fossil, right? In order to justify calling it the same species, we would have to have a tremendous amount of information.
Right.
We have to have a really good fossil in order to say, yeah, this is definitely no change at all, zero change, you know? And even
that's actually an issue with the fossils too, which he doesn't go into is you can look at two modern species and they look pretty much identical, but they have different behaviors or they have different biochemistry somewhat. So
different DNA, and we can't get DNA from 190 million years ago. So we can't really,
despite what creationists claim.
So I mean, that's justification for not naming it the same, because that would require, I think, more evidence in order to say,
oh, and we have. So we're just being cautious. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know.
I'm just going to show you modern animals that were found next to dinosaurs. And on each page of our book, we have a picture of a fossil, and then we have the modern animal, the fossil, and the modern animal. All the fossils in this book are fossils found next to dinosaurs. Got that? So this is a dinosaur.
You notice the difference in shape on that that second right fossil? The difference in the shape of the wing?
Right. Yeah, I noticed that too.
That would be enough to say, okay, we don't have the same species here.
Right. They're like, he's correct. Their overall body plan, which again emerged very early and you have modifications built on that afterwards. But that's basically conserved. Right.
Yeah.
Like most of the major insect orders appeared in the Carboniferous Permian periods and kind of diversified afterwards. So it's not at all surprising that we see dragonflies or their relatives in Cretaceous layers, like that he
Dinosaur era fossil, and it looks like the modern dragonfly. But look what they did to the species and genus name. This should be the same genus at least, and probably should just be the same genus and species. The modern dragonfly is Pachydipax longipennis.
Yeah, see what he did there? Like, so he said it looks like a dragonfly, Therefore, it should be the exact same genus and species as the one I'm showing here. Like, as if there aren't many other dragonfly species that look nothing like that, both living and in the fossil record. So he's basically just cherry picking here, and yeah.
Yeah, making a big spectacle of it to the point where he's written 2 books.
Right.
Spent, 17 years taking pictures and going around doing talk shows. And yeah, okay.
The fossil. Do you see how deceptive that is? Now look at this. Katydid, the modern katydid, that's my fingers. The fossil katydid, we took that picture in Germany at Solnhofen. If you just look at this step by step, here's the leg, it's a different position. The antennae are up and these are going out sideways.
He even acknowledges it's not identical.
Right, yep.
Like the wing shape, the leg shape there, it's not the same.
Things the same. This looks the same. The water skaters look the same and are renamed. The water.
I see a difference in the water skater. I think.
Right. I'm not even sure if that is a water skater.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Or a water bug there, like on either of those, like it takes a careful eye to distinguish them. So, like you can even see
water bugs
differences there.
Conspiracy by the
conspiracy
look the same and are renamed, different genus names. Are you kidding me? The wood wasps look the same but are changed. The beetle, just an ordinary beetle.
They look the same but they're changed.
He's saying they changed the names.
Oh,
like you said, it's a grand conspiracy. Show evolution happened.
Yep. Oh, anyway, what else?
So I guess one more go over because he kind of does the same thing for a while, but I'll just mention he shows what he calls a hedgehog and a possum in the dinosaur age of dinosaurs, when surprise surprise they're not actual hedgehogs or possums. They're more basal mammalia forms. Like one of them, have you heard of the fossil Repenomamus? I probably butchered that, sorry.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
With the baby dinosaur in its stomach that they also make a big fuss about because they're saying, oh, you found mammals with dinosaurs.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's that and the one he talks about is a possum are in the same group of mammals. So, but they're not possums, they're not marsupials. And like the way you distinguish a lot of these Mesozoic mammal species is by their tooth structure and their dental formula, which again requires a trained eye and requires that you have all the teeth in the first place. Like, that's a lot of what you have for most of these fossils. You don't have the actual intact skeletons.
So let's see, he's coming up on a hedgehog.
Recreated model of an avocet, which was found next to a dinosaur, looks exactly, well, not exactly, it looks very close to the modern avocet.
Not exactly. No.
All right. So, and other scientists that we interviewed said that the albatross has been found with a dinosaur, ducks and loons, and other birds. So, gosh. By the way, Dr. Clement said all of the modern bird groups have been found in the dinosaur rock layers. Or no, he said all the dinosaur bird groups lived with the dinosaur according to the genetic analysis they did. And
genetic analysis?
Right, like the molecular clock studies they've done on neoaves. Yeah, well, like, doesn't that kind of refute his own point, though? Because if we found a few of these representatives of modern families, not identical species, but some of the representatives, and then now we're seeing, okay, the genetic data suggests that we should be seeing some of them in these late Cretaceous layers. Like, doesn't that cross corroborate one another?
Yep. Yeah.
So
well, they use it when it's convenient, but
right.
And so it's all birds, according to the pro-evolution scientists. Now I'm going to jump up.
I'd like to see a source for that. And you know, and when, basically, the Cretaceous, the late Cretaceous, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
To
if only we could get the actual
mammals.
book and look at all these.
Yeah.
Because I'd bet you they're either not what he's claiming they are, or there's just a deeper story behind it, as we've seen with all these other ones.
Here's hedgehogs and dinosaurs.
Mammals. This is, oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry. This is a dinosaur era hedgehog jaw. And this is a modern hedgehog jaw. This is what a hedgehog is right here. My friends have some pets, hedgehogs. This is a dinosaur era hedgehog, and they essentially look like the same animal. The teeth look like the same animal, but of course they changed the genus and species name.
Yeah, I can't tell based on the picture. You know, he should be citing some papers here, you know, so that we can
right.
Look at the,
no papers, just the photographs he took.
To create the illusion of evolution.
The illusion of evolution.
Which I do apologize if we are being a little repetitive here, but kind of so is he with his main arguments. So kind of have to hit it on the head a few times.
Magnetic Crystal has a link for us here for some reason. Let me take a look at that.
Yeah, because someone put in the chat the Vegavis fossil that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Which is what they're claiming is a duck.
Yeah. Oh my God. Really? This is a duck?
Well, like I said, we're not sure exactly what its phylogenetic affinity is still a little contentious as far as I can tell.
Yeah, what the hell did I do here? Chrome all. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I think that's the transcript.
Yeah, that's the transcript. I got change here. Let's see. Oh, come on now. We got Google. Where's Opera? Where's Opera? Excuse me, guys. OBS properties of what the hell? I don't quite know what's going on here. Here we go. I figured it out. Hard to find. Okay, there it is. He's calling this a duck?
Yeah.
This? What the fuck? Ain't no duck I ever seen. I don't know.
Well, those are pterosaurs.
Something else. Okay. So what is? Oh, this thing. That's
actual fossil.
Okay. That's pretty weak.
like I said, some of these are pretty fragmentary, so we're not entirely sure what they are. So we're like you find a few bones and you call it some type of waterfowl, maybe, but we're nothing more specific than that.
Yep. Okay. Mammals.
Favorite dinosaur mammal, and it's called Gobiconodon. And one of the evolution scientists suggested that Gobiconodon looked like a possum. And I thought, that's ridiculous. It doesn't look like a possum. So I did the work. I got a picture of Gobiconodon skeleton.
I got a picture. The skulls there. Do they look identical? Look at the front incisors. Look at the phalangeal arches around the rest of the skull. Like they're not the same.
I'm trying to see.
You can look up Gobiconodon too. It's looks like a possum and is a possum is not the same, because possum or a possum-like form is the general form from which most mammal groups evolved from, because that's what our ancestors all looked like. Was this little possum shrew-like mammal.
The shoulder and hip girdle are different.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the hell. It's just, it's ridiculous.
It is.
Of the ringtail possum skeleton, and the skull here of this was at a different angle than this picture. So I took the skull just as a single picture, but this skull is this skull, but it's a true side view like this. Now, if you just start comparing this, it looks quite similar, except for maybe the positions of the bones. This looks so similar.
Except for the positions of the bones.
Right, which is what makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And again, they changed the genus and species names. And this doctor from the Carnegie Museum, pro-evolution scientist, said possums lived with the dinosaurs, tree shrews.
And notice how he shows pictures of modern animals for some of these slides, but doesn't show the actual fossils. So you're made to believe that there are actual echidnas or whatnot, instead of just more basal monotremes in general.
Wait a minute, that white-haired animal with the crazy jacket on, is that the fossil?
No, that's an American possum.
No, the in the upper left.
Oh,
Yeah, is that the fossil? I can relate to that. Anyway. Oh shit. Okay.
Platypuses, the echidna, which is the spiny anteater,
I'm not seeing,
et cetera, et cetera. And it wasn't just the plants, I mean the animals, but it was also the plants. I'm going to go to the plants now.
Again.
No one recognized any of the plants in those 11 slides that I showed you, nor did I, except for the ginkgo, but they said it was different. But look at this. This redwood cone was found in a dinosaur layer, and it looks just like a modern redwood cone. They call it Sequoia langdorfi, but the modern one, they call it Sequoia semiperforans. So
yeah, I don't see the actual picture of the fossil is, I'm not seeing it. Is that a depiction of what it looked like?
I'm helping you, you jerk.
well, that was someone actually in the side chat brought up a really good point in that video, which was, if you look at the pollen, are the pollen grains identical? Like, he didn't show that either. So, which is one distinguishing characteristic between different plants, not just the leaf morphology or whatnot.
Yeah. There's like there are a whole bunch of mushrooms that really look identical until you look at
the spores. Yeah.
Spores. Yeah. Yep.
And which, again, like ginkgos and gymnosperm, or ginkgos, conifers, cycads, they all appeared either at the beginning of the Mesozoic or just before in the Permian. So it's not at all surprising that we find some of their later descendants or later species of representative of these groups in the Cretaceous.
Well, you saw that whole horseshoe crab kerfuffle with will save me apologetics. Basically, there's a lot of reasons for that.
Right.
Same morphology.
Right.
How would you even know that that's not?
What's that?
It is like stabilizing selection, which we can again see with modern populations of organisms. So it's not just a rescue device, as they'll claim. Yeah.
Not the same species. It looks the same to me. Now
Looks
look
the
at this
same to
one.
me.
This fossil, Donnie, was found next to a dinosaur.
Oh my God.
And it looks like this branch, which is off of this tree, the Dawn redwood.
What?
I mean, they look like a very close match. And yet they changed the species name to make it.
Okay. It's just more of the same.
And then it goes on to broadleaf trees and other angiosperms. Same point.
Yeah.
Angiosperms were already around by the early Cretaceous and diversified later in the Cretaceous. So it's
no detailed analysis of any of these fossils, and
nope.
any of and these that one looks like an impression, right? Like a
yeah.
not an actual fossilized leaf, which you're not going to get anyway.
Right. And you kind of heard his main point earlier, which is they look the same to me. Okay, well, why should I believe your word about it over all these other works going over how they are different from one another?
Yep. Oh, let's see.
That's pretty much the clip I wanted to cover. Just his whole gish gallop here, and then they go back and forth for a while and cover the side chat. Let's see. What else did he say? He responded to the critics' arguments that they're not the same species, but because the biological species concept is the only way you can tell that they're different species. So he said that, which we already covered. What else did he say of importance?
Is he talking about pterodactyls?
I'm not familiar with pterodactyls, unfortunately.
Let's look it up. I've been trying to get better at zoology, and but I keep running into the problem that we keep changing the trees, and you don't know which one to learn. Basically. So I mean, it's
some of them are pretty robust, like the broader relationships. But yeah, some of the lower branches do change a lot because we're finding more information.
Pterodactyls.
Our computers are getting better.
I can't even find anything in Google on these. Pterodactyls. Pterodactyls. Let's see. Metatherian mammals known for from the latest Cretaceous to Eocene, North and South America.
Hmm. Well, I mean, then again, not all metatherians are marsupials or possums.
Let's see, the ancient possums. What do they say about them? Let's see, Pterodactyl. Yeah, marsupials. Yeah, okay. Ancient possums. Yeah, it's
well, like the ones he showed or talked about there aren't possums.
Yeah,
we just misidentified them. But yeah, there were marsupials around the age of dinosaurs, but they weren't modern possums.
I don't know how. It's hard to figure out how to respond to people like Save Me Apologetics with the living fossils and stuff like that, without explaining this whole. There's a lot that we're learning about. It's called the extended synthesis of evolution, right? And it's basically learning more and more about the complexity and and what life is actually doing. And it's just immense, and it's ridiculous when you think about what you are, a human being. Our brains have a microbiome in them, and viruses and bacteria and all kinds of things. Some beneficial, some are waiting to kill us and make us turn on dementia. I got a friend who's doing research on this, and it's just an amazing, complex system. And the system keeps changing and folding on every generation as it has to. And there are, and then you look at the size of the population is really important for whether or not something's going to fix in the population, how much diversity you can have, how it's going to adapt. And it turns out the horseshoe
population genetics there.
Yeah. And the horseshoe crab, like okay, if you look at trilobites, from a couple 100 million years ago, you'd see only one branch, and then you'd look back another 100 million years, you'd say, living fossil, and then it went extinct, that one branch. And I think horseshoe crabs are about to do the same thing, mostly because of our putting pressure on the species.
Right.
But there's all these dead ends, and then
Still
other
extinct
places
side branches that
yeah.
we don't talk about.
Yeah, there's places where life can branch, and there's places where it reaches a dead end, or it reaches a something called stabilimorph, which depends on a whole lot of factors, like the environment being broad enough that there's absolutely no evolutionary pressure on that particular form, right?
Right.
And there's other things where you run into like actual dead ends in developmental biology, or you'll run into something that is like a particular pattern of embryological development that is so powerful that if you have a genome duplication and you still have one branch that has these elements in it, you're always going to end up at that same form over and over again.
Right.
And it looks
or
like
minor variations off of it. You can't really change it too drastically.
Yeah. And it looks like arthropods and crustaceans are very much like that. They've got a real stable form, and they keep popping up.
They're very modulated, so you can duplicate different segments and specialize them from there. So that's probably one reason how they got more complex and more ecologically diverse.
I think if they give me an option to, for 5 minutes, I could go to any time I wanted. I would shoot ahead, I think maybe 5 million years or 3 million years, and take a look at human beings and see if I still find them hot.
And what about the past? What would you bargain there?
Oh, I guess, going back 2 million years would be
2 million years. Okay.
But I really want to see what we're going to become, because I understand
what we were and what you're human centric here.
Human, yeah, I know. Well, I'm a human. Give me a break. It'd be really interesting to see what minor changes happen to our face and to just our body form. What we end up being. We could end up with really long arms and super long fingernails.
Oh, I just remembered that was the other argument he made, was that if you look at humans or dogs, you'll see some major, or what do you call it, major differences.
Variations.
Variations, but they're still the same species. So what criteria can you use to call other things different species by the same large scale differences? So.
Well, when the variation fixes across the entire species, and we have another species that doesn't have that variation at all or not fixed, then it's a different species, right? If the variation fixes.
I mean, dogs are kind of the exception because, like, we've selectively bred them. But I think some people are talking about if we actually let them loose in the wild, at least the ones that could survive on their own, we'd probably in a million years call them different species.
Yeah. Yep.
They're at least probably right now they're different breeds or at least subspecies. So
yeah. And the other thing that's really interesting in evolution is that there are all of these gene duplicates and pseudogenes, right?
Right.
These pseudogenes form a protein with a structure, and they're being produced like a lot of them are being produced in your cells, and then they're just eaten up or broken down. But there are some of them, like if we look between you and I, we probably have some minor variations in genes for metabolism. It makes a little bit of a difference. And we're just like, what we do is we look at the most common one, the one that's working, the one that's working the best. And then we'll write a biochemistry book, and we'll create this machine like, oh, this protein combines with that protein, and this happens and that happens. But at the same time, there's a whole bunch of other pathways that are just poised to form, right?
Right.
May not be the prevalent one now, but they could easily, with a slight change in the environment or just a slight change in like just chance, like drift.
Right.
And and I think the more we look into it, like the thing that kills me when we look at brains, we have this idea that there's these wires connecting neurons together. When you look at an actual little slice of an actual brain with neurons. It looks like, have you ever seen head cheese? Probably not. I think it's gone.
I don't think so.
But it's like these. It's like these little circles that are in like a gel, and they're all smashed together. And actual wiring in neurons doesn't look anything like the diagrams of neurons at all, and it doesn't actually work that way. There's the microglia and astrocytes and all of this stuff that basically goes into the best way to say it is your brain is meat. It's not a
right.
It's meat, and it works like meat. It's like sparky meat,
right?
Know? Or not even sparky. It's more has to do with sodium and potassium flowing this way and that, and creating a voltage gradient. So right. I mean, we have these reductive ideas about our metabolism and biochemistry and all of that. And those reductive ideas are not serving us well when we try to understand and get our mind around evolution and how we live and how we grow old and die.
Right.
That sort of thing. I mean,
I think some areas require more a broader holistic perspective, and some areas probably more a reductionist perspective.
Yeah.
So
well, you always start with a reduction, right? The reduction will give you some idea of what
the building blocks, yeah,
and then you construct on top of that reduction, and then you'll end up with more of the true story about what's going on. Very, very
Sydney Raptor. Good to see you. I don't remember. Were you at the? We were going over the Carl Werner stream from yesterday on Standing for Truth. Were you there yesterday, Sydney Raptor? I forgot. Sorry.
Yes, it is Andrew Sydney. I think he asked a question. Did you tell him? Yeah, head cheese is contagious. Yeah, we have a bunch of people here that have to see. You believe you came from a shrew-like animal. Blessed,
blessed be he.
Bless his little heart. He's always just so blessed be he. He just. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Oh, I believe I came from a shrew-like animal. I believe I came from my mom and dad. I don't know about you.
It's like, it's the wording behind it. Did I come from it? No, but our species did, ultimately.
Yeah. My favorite is, you think you're related to a strawberry. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I don't believe I'm related to you. I don't believe I'm related to you, Andrew. Even though, we're a hell of a lot closer than strawberries and me. But no, I don't consider strawberries my close relatives.
Right.
My sister.
It's always the same tactic, taking two very distant points and ignoring all the intermediates behind them.
Right. Yep. Yes. Do you believe you're related to a mushroom, Andrew? More related than I am to a strawberry.
Right. Kind of following the nested hierarchy there. Mm-hmm. At least past a billion years, at least.
But it's about it's about rhetoric, and when you have a bunch of adults that sound intelligent, they've gone to college, they use this rhetoric to persuade all of these people. And these people would not be persuaded if they weren't already inclined to be persuaded at all.
Which is why I feel we need to fact check them more, because otherwise that facade is going to continue. Yeah. And it's going to I don't know if we're really going to convince any of the people. I know we're not going to convince SFT, but any people on the fence in the side chat over there, but I'm not so sure anymore. But I still feel like it's my due diligence to go over there and point out, no, you're wrong on this and this and this. Here's the actual data behind it.
Yeah. I had a good discussion
despite how frustrating that can be sometimes.
That discussion I had with Ryan from Save Me Apologetics.
Yeah.
The whole point of that discussion was he was supposed to show how atheism is incompatible with morality. Like there's a contradiction somewhere in our worldview. And he failed to do that. And I think I detected that he kind of realized that he failed. And that for one moment, or a moment or two during that conversation, he could understand what the hell I was talking about. And he could understand how my mind works and how my life works. And that's all you need is for them to get a glimpse, right?
Right. Yeah, to get them thinking, essentially. Critical thinking, that's what we need more of nowadays. Right. Especially in today's, the society we live in today, at this year.
Nobody's ever seen a god produce a non-god.
Right. But I guess we have seen non-gods produce gods.
Where the hell did they get off with this? Nobody's seen macroevolution. Nobody's observed macroevolution. Were you there when God created the animals?
I mean, they claim they have what he said when he was there. So,
hey, Kafai is here. Yeah, head cheese, Sophia, was something my grandma used to make, and none of us kids would eat it. We did eat the blood sausage, but we said, no, head cheese, no. We draw the line at the head cheese. We're not doing it.
Yes, Pragmatic Crystal. Media literacy, science literacy, we need a lot more of that now. Especially with social media and whatnot.
And I consider some of the questions they ask fair, like, how did the liver evolve? How did mammary glands evolve?
Right. They're good questions. You just need to go out and find the answers, because there are answers for a bunch of stuff.
You saw what happened when Rebecca asked me that, and then I started trying to explain it to her, and she said, "Oh, that's just a story."
Right.
And it's like, well,
because they don't actually want to know what the actual science behind it is.
If you're going to teach science, you have to tell stories. If you're going to teach anything, you have to tell stories. You teach history. How do you teach history without telling the story? I don't know. I mean, what is the Bible if it isn't a bunch of damn stories?
I mean, you can use the word story, but I kind of prefer the word model.
Model, yeah, that works. But I mean, like liver evolution, it's really interesting, and it's interesting that your liver forms in the embryo. In a field that the heart projects. So the field that, like the heart muscles, will basically send messengers, and those they're very, very close to your small intestine at that point, and they actually induce the formation of a liver.
Right.
And it's
because a lot of our organ development depends on the positional information of our cells early on in development.
Yep. And who is it? Stuart Kaufman and Dennis Noble and a bunch of others are trying to, they use rhetoric too to piss off most scientists. They'll claim everybody's wrong about evolution or whatever, but they're trying to explain some of these really bizarre, complex goings on that turn basically a zygote into an organism. And when you start looking at the whole picture, it becomes clearer. But then they're complaining that, Dennis Noble complains about Richard Dawkins and his gene-centric view.
Yeah. A lot of people complain about Richard Dawkins, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. What Dennis Noble is saying is that the genome is not a goddamn blueprint. That isn't how it works. In fact, Dennis Noble said that in a recent video I watched, and I would like every creationist who says, "Oh, it's a blueprint made by God,
or it's a code
to produce the organism." I would like them to listen to what Dennis Noble has to say about it being a blueprint, because it is not. That's not how it works.
Right.
It's just a bunch of shifting fields and strange goings on.
But I mean, it's not always easy to do to move away or even completely get rid of confirmation bias. Even like for ourselves, we have to be aware that we're all vulnerable to these cognitive biases and that we need to combat them. Otherwise, we're not going to move forward.
Yeah, and every time one of these creationists come up with an argument against evolution, I say, hey, let me go check that out.
Interesting. Let's look at it.
Yeah, let's maybe that's a problem for evolution. Let's figure out if it is, and so far I haven't found a goddamn one. Like with
Right.
Rebecca, with Cell, it was a development of tits. Mammary glands, right?
Nothing convincing, at least.
Yeah. And I went and started looking at the development of mammary glands, and like, yeah, it's just a story, but boy, it's a really cool story, how it started out. Nothing more than like sort of sweat glands that keep eggs moist, that was and since then I've signed up to Google Scholar Alert for everything from, I think his name is Ofendahl or something like that, but he's the primary evolutionary mammary glands guy. And I get like reference after reference, which I haven't checked out for a while, but like hundreds and hundreds of papers on this, that we can look at. And I was looking at bone development. I got a big book on bone development, and very, very interesting. There's the theory that bones were originally for calcium storage, and they still are.
Yeah.
Like calcium, it's probably the most important function other than holding your body up is calcium storage in your bones. And that was the origin, basically, of the tissues.
In very primitive fish.
Yeah.
With bone-like tissue.
Yeah, and looking at how cartilage developed and how cartilage starts to develop in the bone, and how few genes need to change in order to go from one to the other.
Right. It doesn't take a lot of change in a lot of these areas. It just takes some minor regulatory tweaks.
The most stunning thing I found, and I haven't been able to find it again, so just take this as an anecdote, but
okay.
Basically there are more types of bone and cartilage in fish than there are in human beings. Okay. But they have found that some of those types that are in fish that we don't use anymore actually contribute to diseases of the skeleton or skeletal system. And so basically this ancient genetic pathway is still there, and it creates problems in, current human beings.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it's a pathway that should have, if God had done it, he would have cut that out entirely, gotten rid of it.
That's the case with a lot of other genetic pathways too.
Yeah, and that's why evolution is important in medicine.
Right.
And it's really important in cancer.
Like it helps to understand the origin of these things to figure out how to deal with them.
There's an ICR book on dragons. Oh,
that's interesting. Oh yeah, they're gonna say the dragons were just dinosaurs.
I have like I think 12 feet on my bookshelf is taken up with fucking ICR books and
oh goodness.
AIG books, and I even bought their whole series. Right there, I think it was AIG that had that whole series on.
Why do you plague yourself, Speed?
I don't know why I did it. Well, because critical thinking and an open mind. When somebody criticizes something, you listen.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see.
That's the whole point, I guess. Yeah.
But every time I cracked one open and looked into something and then went and did research for it myself, I found that they were full of shit.
Right.
I would like somebody to point out something that isn't full of shit, and I will take it very seriously and I'll research it.
Well, I mean, that's why, like, pointing to, like, that's kind of the real reason why when a creationist links a CMI article or AIG and we say, no, give us an actual paper, and they're just saying, you're just being biased against creation. No, it's because the track record for these creationist organizations is very shoddy when it comes to science and actual citations. So
here we go. Living Fossils, a Powerful Argument for Creation by Dr. Werner. Got this thing too.
Oh, thanks, Pragmatic Crystal.
Did I link that in my, I wonder if I linked this one. Yeah, I did. I linked that at the top of my description. Here he is, Dr. Werner, for some reason in a scuba outfit. Why? What the fuck?
I don't know.
I don't know why he's in a scuba outfit. I'm not sure. I wonder if I can make that bigger by going to YouTube. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Oh,
basically,
it's Don Batten interviewing.
What's that? Pragmatic Crystal has another link. Damn you, Pragmatic Crystal. You keep me busy.
We got some stuff to put in description later.
Well, I've been putting it in as I go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I tend to get really distracted. Ooh, what fishes can teach us about bone formation. Oh, cool. That's talking about what I was talking about. Let's see. And let's see, where are we here? Alt V.
Scuba Steve.
What just happened?
Oh, if only his name was Steve.
What fishes can teach us about bone formation? Cool. I'll have to read that article. Let me put that in my description.
Thanks, Crystal.
Yeah, he's very good. Better than I am at this link stuff, and I'm pretty goddamn good at it. Okay, so where's Werner, living fossil? Let's see. There are basically two models about how life came about. The evolution model. And what's the other model? It suggests that chemicals coalesced and formed a living single cell almost 4 billion years ago. And then I think that's kind of a short way of putting it. Then this changed over a long period of time into other living things. Let's see. The other model, creation, suggests that an external supernatural being created all the various stuff. You see, that's the fucking problem. I don't believe in supernatural beings. You got to convince me of that first.
Right.
And then we'll put ducks in alongside the dinosaurs, right? I mean, you got to come up with a case for the supernatural being, and all they want to do is pick on evolution and atheists, and atheists can't be moral and this and that. They never want to tell us, why should I believe in a supernatural being? You're like me, Andrew, right? You never believed? You've never really been a believer?
Yeah, I've never really been religious.
Yeah. You know, and I haven't been all my life. And so the first thing they got to do is convince me what a supernatural, first of all, okay, being, a supernatural being, when they say that, they're not talking about,
exactly.
They're not talking about supernatural like in the like where there's a universe where the cosmological constants are different and everything is really strange. They're talking about a being which is like us, which sits around, plans things, has a will.
They're talking about the Abrahamic God.
Yeah, they're talking about the anthropomorphic God.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm totally unconvinced that anything can think or have a brain or think without a brain. You know, there's no such thing as mind without brain. And I've come to that conclusion by studying how brain creates mind. Right.
And as Crystal says here, first you need to convince you, Speed, that this being exists. Then you have to convince me that they can do anything to begin with, like that they actually have the powers that they attribute to this being.
Yep. And you know, have you ever observed the supernatural being doing anything? I don't know. I haven't.
Yeah. Oh, Sydney Raptor's comment here. That's a good acronym.
Which one? That one?
It's SCUBA.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty good.
Self-contained, underwhelming bullshit arbiter. I like it. Yep. Oh my.
Do you think we've sufficiently addressed Dr. Werner here, Speed?
Yeah, it's weak. It's really weak. I'm surprised.
It's super weak.
But then some of the other shit he's had on that Gardena or whatever the hell his name is, he is weak too.
Yeah, a lot of it, like Jerry Bergman too. Like it's the standard I think like at one like he even said at one point that like we came from chimps supposedly according to evolution, like just these basic errors.
Yeah, Ryan.
Like, this all appeals, like you said, to rhetoric, to intuition, all the good stuff.
Yeah. Ryan tried to do that too. He said chimps, and I said no, he didn't. Fucking chimps are highly evolved,
right?
Compared to the common ancestor that we share. Oh, and then they were going on about who was it? Hominid evolution again. He had the guy talking about the fossils, right? And he actually committed libel. There's a dead anthropologist, and he was claiming that he committed fraud.
Oh yeah, that's what Werner was doing too.
It's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
somebody ought to take one of these guys to court. The estates of some of these people who have passed away ought to take them to court for it.
Yeah.
Claiming
because these are like serious accusations, so someone should.
And they bring up Piltdown Man.
Right.
All the time. And what's the other Nebraska pig?
Yeah, the Nebraska man tooth.
Yeah. I call him Nebraska pig, so a little more honest. Those two, it's like, okay, there's going to be charlatans everywhere. I mean, like if you want to talk about people that are committing fraud and putting out bullshit just to make money, you need to look no further than Standing
for mirror.
Look at Standing for Truth's channel and look at the books he's selling and how bad.
Look at the guy he frequently hosts on his channel.
Oh, and Raw Math, another fraud.
Yeah,
and his fraud runs to breatharianism and
academic fraud, and
he lived on honey for 2 months in the forest. Like he went up and grabbed beehives and ate the bees and the honey, and it's just like, fuck, the guy's a piece of work.
Kids, don't go on to beehives and start fighting bees.
No, don't do that. Anyway, okay. Are we about done?
Yeah, I think so. I hope everyone listening found this enjoyable, amusing, or educational in some shape or form. I know it was kind of getting a bit repetitive at some points, but as I said before, his whole argument here is kind of the same thing over and over and over again, just a different example each time. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Oh, someday
very weak stuff.
I would like to do some good education, but I don't know. That takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
So many other providers out there that are doing a good job at it.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people are becoming more aware about this. I don't really want to call it a debate or issue, but I guess on YouTube that is what it is.
Yeah. By the way, Amy Newman did a really amusing stream last night with an 8-minute video about a guy who was making I don't know, he looked like some Swami guy or something. He was making a case against evolution, and it was
you talked about that earlier.
Yeah, it was so pitiful.
Right.
Gotta go check that out. Anyway, okay, guys.
All right. Thanks for watching all. See ya next time.
Shooting her